全員家の呪いを継いで生まれた者。その呪いを捨てきれなかった者。彼らは目撃する。すべてを捨て去った者のむき出しの肉体。その躍動を。
術式頼りの守りに回ったな。
Want to be an absolute monster in the shadows? A beast that lies waiting like a predator watching its prey? A specter of the battlefield only seen when it's about to claim its kill. This is the melee version of the most broken assassin build that you'll ever need for patch number 8. If you're wondering what is the ultimate range version of this build, the links are in the description. I've experimented on a lot of combinations to make this specter. Most of them performed alright by combining some Shadow Step, Hexblade, and Misty Step in a combo. Honestly, it's quite decent like any other assassin build, but in this channel, we don't do decent here. We push builds into their absolute limits and break the game. The build that I'm looking for is like a predator marking its territory, where everything inside and its vicinity is the kill zone. All life that comes into contact with this build just dies. A prowling monster in the shadows waiting for its next kill. Sounds really cool, right? Fortunately for us, I have made that exact build. To do this, we're not only gonna play with 2 of the new subclasses, we're gonna build it with 3 and some other really cool multi-class shenanigans. In order to start our build, we're gonna start off with the base, which is obviously the rogue, particularly the new subclass, the swashbuckler rogue. What makes this subclass special is the Rakish Tenacity ability. This new skill provides +2 to your initiative rolls while removing the advantage requirements to trigger your sneak attack. To capitalize on this powerful ability, we're gonna use the perfect subclass for any melee focused builds in patch 8, which is the brand new Hexblade subclass of the Warlock. This beautiful class introduces some nasty set of skills like the Hexblade Curse, where you can curse your targets to attack and reduce the rolls required for you to land a critical hit by 1. Once the target dies, you regain some hit points in return. What's really cool about the new Hexblade Curse is that it also works with the new binded Hex weapon from the Hexblade Warlock. When you bind your main hand weapon, you'll activate the Hexblade Warrior passive that lets your melee attack scale with your charisma instead of strength and dexterity, while also triggering the Hexblade Curse on the process. This setup is guaranteed to increase the chances of you to land a critical hit. To push the build even further, we're gonna add some crit fishing passives from the champion subclass of the fighter, where we'll gain the improved critical passive that also decreases the number of rolls you need to land a critical hit by 1, along with the innate ability of the fighter to attack multiple times in a single turn using action surge and extra attack. This is perfect for a follow-up on cursed targets with the Booming Blade cantrip. The Booming Blade is the new cantrip that is introduced in the final patch, where we can use melee attacks and deal additional thunder damage on hit. There's also an additional damage to targets that move. In order for us to turn this build into an insanely overpowered predator, we're gonna introduce the bonkers new subclass, the Shadow Sorcerer, along with its powerful Eyes of the Dark. This insane ability provides us with the darkness spell without the blindness debuff for 10 turns on the caster. This works very well with the Hexblade Warlock because both scale with charisma. The Shadow Sorcerer also has the extended meta magic spell to increase your duration of the Eyes of Dark from the regular 10 turns to 20. Not to mention, you can convert spell slots to sorcery points for another set of Eyes of the Dark. With the Eyes of the Dark's nature of being a concentration spell, we can also introduce a really powerful ring, which is the Strange Conduit ring that adds a 1d4 psychic damage to our weapons for free. Together with other crit, fishing, and damage modifying items, this will let us build a shadow domain like a monster lying in wait. I've already mentioned the gear, so let's dive into that. The Spectre's item setup is almost similar to my Shadow Hunter build. Saravox helmet from Act 3, which provides a Deathbringer passive. This grants us superior dark vision and critical modifiers. For the early game, the Dark Justicer helmet for critical modifier, which is the covert critical. Shadeslayer cloak for a stealthy critical passive. Early game, you can use the cloak of protection for the +1 to your AC and saving throw. The Yuan-Tai scale mail for dexterity scaling armor, or the spider silk depending on your preference to increase your stealth modifiers. Helda's gloves for the added fire damage, or maybe the lesser version in the early acts. Evasive shoes for a +1 to your acrobatics and AC. Surgeon subjugation for a free paralysis on crit for the early game, and the Amulet of Greater Health for max Constitution and Concentration saving throws for the late game. Depending on your priorities, you can go either way. Caustic Band for acid weapons, Strange Conduit Ring for a free psychic damage on our concentration spells while we are using the Eyes of the Dark. Melee weapons will be the Bloodthirst and the Crimson Mischief, while your main hand will be the Crimson Mischief for the additional piercing damage. Early game is any dagger that you can get your hands on, like the Susur dagger is a really nice pick to silence your targets. With those items present, your gear will most likely look like this. Now your broken Shadow Spectre is born. Let's dive into how we actually create this beast. Now let's get into building out our Shadow Spectre with our character creation. For the races is depending on your preference, but I'll be mentioning some really nice races to really synergize with the build, starting with the Elf and the Half-Orc. For the Elf, obviously they have Elven Weapon Training, but I really like the subclass feature, which is the Wood Elf, which increases our move speed by 1.5 meters. If you guys want to be a really hard-hitting melee character, the Half-Orc is one of the best races for that, just because of the race feature, Savage Attack. When we land a critical hit with a melee weapon, we can deal an additional extra die of weapon damage. Classes will start off as a rogue as usual, just so that we can start off with our sneaky character build. For the abilities, it'll most likely look like this. We'll be prioritizing our Charisma, Dexterity, Constitution, and Strength. Charisma is very important because we will be scaling most of our build with Charisma, so we will be pumping this up as much as possible. Dexterity is for our AC as well as our finesse weapon damage. Constitution will be our stamina and physical endurance, as well as our Constitution saving throws for our AoE effect spells. Strength will be the final one because we don't actually need that later on our build. Jumping into progression, we're just gonna follow the rogue tree for a while, while also unlocking the Cunning Action Hide, which is really useful for the build, Dash, and Disengage. 3 is where we can select our subclass, which is the Swashbuckler Rogue. This will also unlock the subclass feature, which is really important for the build, the Rakish Audacity. We will gain +2 bonus to our initiative rolls, but the most important thing here, we no longer need advantages to trigger our sneak attacks. We also unlock the Fancy Footwork. Whenever we do a melee attack on the targets, they can't make opportunity attacks on us. Level 4 is the start of our first multi-class, which is the Shadow Sorcerer. We're gonna take the Shadow Sorcerer as quickly as we can so that we can start off and have fun with our Eyes of the Dark. We also unlock the subclass feature, Strength of the Brave, or the other one is Superior Dark Vision, which will let us see up to 24 meters. For the spell is some really nice transmutation spells such as Enhanced Sleep. For the cantrips, it's really important because we will be taking the Booming Blade. For the other ones, you can take Blade Ward if you prefer. Still continuing on our sorcerer tree, we just unlock a couple of sorcery points and some meta magic. The really cool meta magic that we'll be using is the Extended Spell. This will increase the duration of our Eyes of the Dark later on, as well as distance if you guys want to increase the distance of your darkness. Level 6 and level 3 of our sorcerer, we now unlock our Eyes of the Dark, which will be our bread and butter spell for this build. This will practically blind all of the enemies in the area, but the caster can see normally in the darkness up to 25 meters. Meta magic is you can use the Quicken spell. This will let you use your spell with just the cost of your bonus action. The most useful spell that we can grab is the Mirror Image. This will increase our AC by 3 for every mirror image that we conjure. Level 7, we will now move into our third multi-class of the build and introduce the Warlock, which is the Hexblade. This will grant us spells like Bind Hex Weapon that binds our weapons proficiency to our charisma instead of relying on our strength and dexterity. The really cool one here is the Hexblade Curse. Whenever it is directed to our enemies, the number of rolls that we need to hit the critical is reduced by 1. Right after that, level 8 is we will now jump into our final subclass and fourth subclass of the build, which will be the Fighter. This will increase our fighting capabilities by increasing the number of our attacks in a single turn, as well as providing some really nice actions to increase our damage output. For the fighting stylist, you can choose from 2-weapon fighting if you want to go 2-handed, but I'll just go with defense to increase my AC by 1. Following up to the fighter up to the end, we just unlock our action surge. Now for our subclass feature, we will just select the champion. Just because of the subclass feature, improved critical hit. Level 11 of the character, we just got our very first and final feat. And we will just grab ability improvement. We will focus all of it to our charisma and putting it up to 19. If you guys have the hair from Anti-Ethel, you can spend it to charisma and this will push it up to 20. Now level 12, we just unlock our final class feature, which is extra attack. This will let us attack twice in a single turn. Here we are in live simulation to show you guys how powerful and overpowered this build can be. As usual, we're gonna start off with the setup. As usual, for a melee character, we always start off with infusing our main hand weapon with elemental powers. In order to do that, we're going to use the Drake Throat Glaive in its ability to use draconic elemental weapons. So we're just going to drop our main hand weapon, which is the Crimson Mischief. After that is going to use the draconic elemental infusion. For the purpose of this video, we're just going to go with draconic elemental weapon Lightning. After infusing our main hand weapons with elemental powers, we're gonna use the Bind Hex weapon to change our modifiers to charisma. Soon after that is we're gonna use our mirror image to increase our AC to the max as much as possible. After that is we're gonna follow up with our Elixir of Viciousness to increase our critical chances and infuse our weapons with the Serpent Fang Toxin. This will give us more poison damage for 10 turns. Right after that is follow up with the Eyes of Darkness and increase its duration with the extended spell. Go to hide and we're now practically ready to fight using our Spectre. We're gonna open up with the Rakish Sneak Attack melee to attack the boss. Got a really nice crit. And follow up with the Booming Blade. Boom, really nice critical there. And we can move back, go back to hiding, and ending our turn. Have the Booming Blade effect. While the boss is searching for us, most likely she will die in the next turn. She only has 10 HP left. So we can finish that boss off with our Rakish Attack melee once again. It's done. Attack this enemy beside her with the Booming Blade. And we're not even in combat yet. See here. Enemies are still looking for us. We found one enemy right there. It just found the body of the boss. Now she's gonna die. That. Following up with Booming Blade. She's dead. Move back to the shadows. Hide. And let it happen. So their allies are gonna search for what happened. To no avail, and we will now maybe start the battle with this one. We'll just attack this enemy here. She's dead. Now the battle just started. So we will just position ourselves roughly to the center of this one to bait out our enemies towards us. This build is really nice together with your party members or maybe solo. Just play around the darkness and you're gonna be fine. You're gonna have a really powerful Assassin Spectre that's gonna be part of your team. and can eliminate your targets without any worries for as long as you fight around this area. So we now have our next prey just outside the darkness. So we will now eliminate her using our Brackish Audacity first. We just triggered Hexblade to increase critical chances and following up with the Booming Blade. We just got a really fat crit. To eliminate the enemy quickly, we will pop Action Surge to use Booming Blade once again. Now she's dead. And now move to the center once more to bait out more prey to the darkness spell. So you can just chill out here, let the enemies run towards us. Like a monster in the shadows, we'll just stand there and wait till our prey comes into our range. After that is, again, Brackish Audacity. Following up with Booming Blade. Now she's dead. Move towards your next prey. Hide, and they'll just gonna stand around there, waiting to get killed once again. This build is really overpowered. It deals so much damage without any drawbacks. For as long as you are inside the cloud, you're practically like a god in there. So the enemy is dead. Bait another set of opponents to your side. Like so. Very easy. Very overpowered. Partner this up with the Shadow Hunter. Your enemies are gonna be having a really bad time. So we'll just wait. The enemies are still not in range. We're gonna dash into the cloud, where we are lying in wait like a predator waiting for its prey. Attack the enemies right there. Crit. Finishing off the enemy with Booming Blade. And that's it, guys. That's it for the build. Would love to know what you guys think in the comments below. Shout out to all the people who subscribe and keep supporting the channel. I really appreciate you guys for all the amazing support. And for all the people who haven't subscribed yet, thank you for watching my videos. And I hope I earn your subscriptions in the future. But if you're here today, please don't hesitate to hit that subscribe button. Want to support me directly? Join buttons below. Do you guys love build crafting, modding, having really cool discussions with the best people in the community? Join us on Discord and meet some really wonderful people while playing the best game in the universe, which is Baldur's Gate 3. Looking forward to seeing you there. Are you guys excited for more RPG builds, news, and mods? Just keep it here in this channel. Finally, that's it from me. Up to you soon. The next Master Buck Show. Peace out. Bye, guys.